Good day, this is Spellbinder Reports, January 15th, 2011. I'm going to show you a newsletter I get from G.Edward Griffin, his Reality Zone newspaper called Unfiltered News. I'll have a link of this down in the description box underneath the YouTube video, where you can get a link to it and go directly here and even sign up so you can get this newsletter. He's very informative, has a lot of information, and to me it's like another rinse information channel or website. It's got, or even InfoWars. Unfiltered News, the Reality Zone. Political correctness is not spoken here. And there, get to see it's this is January 8th through the 14th, so it's bi-monthly newsletter. And this is what the headlines are. Here's a nice little thing. It says House of Representatives under new mismanagement. It's a good little cartoon. Let's see. Starting with J.P. Morgan Chase Bank says net income jumped 47% in fourth quarter of 2010, and that executive salaries in their home loan division tripled from $549 million to $1.8 billion since last year. CEO Jamie Dimon says that hurdles are high for investors who want to force banks to buy back bad loans, and this will be vigorously opposed in court. It's a Yahoo report. U.S. Treasury announces it will sell warrants it holds in Citibank or Citigroup and two smaller banks to raise money to repay the $700 billion bailout. It claims it will make $12 billion on its $45 billion bailout of Citibank. See, the only people making money right now is actually the banks, and the people in the middle class are losing money, and it's just not right. You know, it's called bailout Wall Street, but Main Street gets left in the dust. We're getting tired of having to repeat this warning, but it must be done. We don't believe you can squeeze orange juice out of a rock. In spite of all the brave talk about economic recovery and improved profit, banks and other bailout entities are not yet producing anywhere near sufficient real profit to repay the bailouts. The trick they have used in the past, working in partnership with the Federal Reserve, is to provide new bailouts hidden from public view to repay old ones, thereby fooling the public into believing bailouts are acts of statesmanship. Eventually, all this will be exposed by then, and it will be too late to do anything about it. Another Yahoo News article. U.S. A recent poll reports that Obama's approval rating has soared to 77%. Hard to believe. Here's how they produced that absurd figure. 44% like him as a person and also like his policies. 29% like him but oppose his policies. 2% like his policies but dislike him as a person. 19% dislike him and his policies. The reality, therefore, is 75% like something about him, mostly his personality, but only 46% like his policies, which is the meaning of an approval rating, or which is the meaning of this approval rating. This is classic media spin. Infozyne 2011. Illinois raised its income tax rate to 5% to pay off a $15 billion deficit. That's a 66% increase. Neighboring states with lower taxes are gleefully anticipating the influx of businesses and jobs away from Illinois. So the people in Illinois, you're going to get more unemployment and everything because the jobs are going to move out of there to go to the cheaper tax states. This is what is going on with this. Even Mancow's moving out of Illinois because he can't put up with the taxes either. He says that's just ridiculous. It's crazy that they rose the tax that much. AIG, the U.S. government, are working on a plan to sell $20 billion of AIG stock to expand the company's capital. This will reduce the value of existing shares, but it is hoped that it will attract needed capital from investors. As with previous moves to attract new capital into businesses that continue to lose money, we are skeptical. The standard game plan is for the Treasury and the Fed to covertly provide politically favored investors with new money or offer guarantees to cover the loss of old money so that on the surface it looks like the bailouts have been paid back. Watch closely. Can you tell which shell covers the peanut? MSNBC News report. If you still believe that mass bird kills are caused by fireworks flying into buildings, ingestion, or some other official explanation, here is a map showing global locations of 30 recent events. Whatever the cause, it's happening worldwide. See the article by Andrea Silverthorne in the forum section below for reasons to suspect formaldehyde that forms from methane gas. So it's methane gas. Also, the co-exit is probably blowing around in the air too, so around the world. That could be another one. U.S. house foreclosures hit a record high of over 1 million in 2010, if not for a recent wave of court cases in which banks are prevented from foreclosure when they cannot document that they own the mortgage. The total could have exceeded 3 million. Currently, more than 5 million homeowners are at least 2 months behind their payments. Not to worry, our leaders and the media pundits have assured us that the economy has turned around. Yahoo story. Missouri has no problem with illegal immigrants because of common sense laws. English is the official language. Police verify immigration status of those who are arrested, and illegal immigrants are not eligible for taxpayer-funded programs like food stamps, health care, and financial aid for education. Ozark Sentinel. And that right there tells you the whole story. If all the states had the same thing, we wouldn't have any problem with the illegal immigrants. The ones that couldn't speak English wouldn't be here. And that would cut over half of them down. Morgan Chase Bank in Cleveland told a home buyer that the only way they were willing to modify his loan downward was for him to default on his payments, which he did. Why would a bank advise default? Because it counts on moving the mortgage into a GSE, government-sponsored enterprise, such as Fannie Mae or Mac, and thereby receive subsidies on the revised loan. In other words, the banking game continues at the expense of the taxpayer. Zero Hedge article. Philippines town mayor forces university to uproot a field of GMO eggplants. The reason is that the university failed to follow the law and take adequate steps to ensure that the plants could not contaminate natural crops in the vicinity. Natural News. State of Virginia is considering establishing a committee to study whether it should adopt currency such as gold or silver should the Federal Reserve collapse. This is a step in the right direction, but strictly speaking is unconstitutional. Article 1, Section 10 of the Constitution says that states may not coin money that is revised to the federal government. States must allow only gold or silver coins to be legal tender, which means people are required by law to accept them, but they cannot issue legal tender coins themselves. They can manufacture their own coins and accept them in payment of taxes, but cannot make them the official money of the state that people must accept. So it gets murky. Let's hope the committee will sort all this out and come to a conclusion that the state should issue silver and gold coins, encourage them to be used as money even though they are not required to do so. That would be ideal. No one needs to be forced to accept gold or silver. The Market Oracle. The U.S. housing market values have fallen 26% since their peak in June 2006, which is worse than the decline during the Great Depression of 1928 and 1933. In spite of these grim statistics, this article insists that the economy is reveling back to life. We shall see. CNBC. U.S. court case discloses that military conducted mind control experiments on 7,800 Vietnam veterans. They were subjected to nerve agents and psychoactive drugs, including LSD. Soldiers volunteered but were not told of the risk. Alternate. Obama Presidential Commission report on the Gulf Gusher suggests the U.S. government should share in the responsibility. That probably is correct, but there is more here than meets the eye. If the government shares responsibility, this will blunt the illegal attack on BP and will save it billions of dollars in lawsuits. The government likely will have to pay at least half of the damages and most of the remediations cost. Taxpayers once again will be put through the ringer, while the people who were personally responsible for this disaster will not pay a dime to be punished in any way. The Daily Mail. Obama is pushing for Internet ID overseen by the Department of Commerce to protect your online identity. Of course, it will be optional for now. If the public wants this, the private sector could and would provide it without government presence or access to the database. But that is not what will happen. Daily Mail. Canada owner fined $5,200 for growing cucumbers in his basement. Authorities thought he was growing marijuana. Even though only cucumbers were found, the fine was levied to cover the cost of the search. So when they screw up, they charge the person that they illegally searched his place, basically. That's illegal as hell. In America, that would be. I guess in Canada, they can get away with such nonsense. Australia. Government is considering renaming climate change, already changed from global warming to climate challenges. This is because most people no longer think that climate change is man-made, so the myth makers must find more appealing phrase. No matter how they sell it, at its core is junk science leading to carbon tax. The Australian. Massachusetts federal court voids bank seizures of 2 foreclosed homes because the banks failed to show they held the mortgages at that time of foreclosure. This is expected to have an enormous impact on the other foreclosure homes in the past and in the future. Daily Mail. U.S. While the Constitution is read on the House floor, a woman in the audience yells out that Obama has violated the Constitution because he is not a natural-born citizen as required. She is removed. Yahoo Post. Upcoming G20 meeting to discuss how raising food prices can be used as an excuse for passage of regional laws to increase government control over crops, farming, and methods, quotas, and prices. Never let a good crisis go to waste. Instead of reducing government interference in the free market, which is the primary cause of food shortages, they are pushing ahead for more controls than ever. Collectivism always grows until it consumes everything. Readers. China supplied most of the world's honey and is notorious for using antibiotics to keep the bees healthy. But the honey becomes contaminated, which is far from healthy for humans. Chinese honey is falsely labeled as from Taiwan, Indonesia, or Malaysia to avoid tariffs. Globe and Mail Post. Ron and Rand Paul plan to introduce a bill to cut the federal budget by $500 billion. Rand says that the government collects about $2 trillion but spends $4 trillion. Ron advocates repealing the welfare and welfare state. Sad Hill posted. H. Greek doctor, Harvard graduate, tells how medical research is a damn lie. He says bad science is manipulated to skew data favorably towards drug manufacturers who fund the research. Up to half of all medical research is untrustworthy. The Atlantic Post. See what's going on here? This is the type of stuff they're pulling on you in the pharmaceutical companies. They write the textbooks for the doctors that learn from it, and the doctors never know of natural homeopathic and natural cures that are a tenth the price of what their untrustworthy research, manipulated data that they use. Pulitzer Prize winner David Johnston explains how the rich get richer at your expense. It's a system of subsidies and tax breaks for those with political influence. He says these mega businesses should earn their money in the marketplace and not receive it as a gift stolen from the middle class by their friends in politics. Well, this is about all I'm going to get to. The Arizona shooting has resulted in media frenzy to verify conservatives and constitutionists, libertarians and Tea Party, diverse political rhetoric, the gun rights advocates. Like every other crisis in the present day, the event is being used to create public acceptance of yet more government power. This is an excellent overview. Nethercorp. Until next time, this is Spellbinder saying, Spellbinder Report saying, be good at it. Good day.